of things in sports and entertainment. And now, here are your hosts, David and Sammy
Ready
Joseph.
to talk about the man, the draw, the savior?
Roman Reigns?
Nah, Goldberg.
Oh man.
The man, the draw, all reliable. That's what we should start calling him, all reliable. When you need somebody
He's definitely not
to give you
reliable.
a big match and to give you some recognition and mainstream attention real quick, Goldberg. Now, I thought we was going to get Goldberg versus Roman Reigns, but we're going to get Goldberg versus Drew McIntyre. What the hell do you think about that, Sammy? And do you think they could pull off a good feud and match?
You know what I think? I think it's WWE's in a tough spot. That's what I think.
Explain.
Because they're doing this because they don't have anybody young who can step up to that Royal Rumble plate and make it believable. That's really what it comes down to. So they had to call this guy because they know he's a brand name at the end of the day, just to fill in that gap. Because at the end of the day, Royal Rumble's not one of those throwaway pay-per-views. This is a big deal. This is something that the world is going to look forward to. This is one of those annual big deal bashes. So they that's all it is. They needed a big name to plug. Goldberg was the only guy available.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. The last 2-3 months, Drew McIntyre has had various brief matches and or interactions, seeds planted against his real life best friend Sheamus. Couldn't they have done Sheamus for the Royal Rumble? I think people would buy it.
They could have, but then what do you do before WrestleMania?
So you think saving off Sheamus for after Royal Rumble was more worth it than just using him for the Royal Rumble? I'm not getting that. I think they could have just did that. The feud's right there in place.
No. Because Royal Rumble's a bigger deal. They needed something that was going to be a big deal.
I absolutely agree, but I think because they've done such a good job of slowly building up that feud and that they've never feuded before, although he doesn't bring the drawing power and star power as Goldberg, I think Sheamus could knock it out the park in a position like that because it's such fresh creative material and they both could go. But
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely right. Goldberg gives them that sexy marquee that the Royal Rumble always needs.
That's what it comes down to. It's just he was the big guy available, and now we know the match isn't going to be good. But it's not about the matches. It's about the fact that you got your hottest guy right now, and now you got somebody who was hot way back in the day. So now you can put it together, and that's your Royal Rumble. That's what people's going to tune into. Oh my God, Goldberg's in the Royal Rumble at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We're coming now. That's really what it is. They're in a hole, and now next pay-per-view, because it's not going to have as much meaning, we can do the Sheamus thing. It's going to be a way better match.
I think they could have an excellent match though. Sheamus and Drew.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Honestly, but I just thought honestly that's where my head was at. When Goldberg stormed out, they didn't advertise him or nothing. So I think they deserve points for that at least. I think most people thought Goldberg was going to go after Roman because he was supposed to fight him last year's WrestleMania, but Roman backed out because of COVID, and then it ended up being Goldberg and Braun Strowman. So I thought they were gonna pick up and make him go after Roman. So I think WWE deserves Swerve credit right there. They kept me on my toes. Yeah, we know the match. I agree with you. It's more about the feud and the Clash of the Titans, the story of the Clash of the Titans, more than it's about the in-ring match.
Yeah.
I think Drew, from what I have seen in 2020, I think Drew McIntyre could make it so hard-hitting and believable that he could pull out, I'm not going to say a long match, because I don't think that's realistic. But I believe his match with Drew McIntyre will be longer than his Brock Lesnar matches. I think it's going to be slightly longer. I don't think it's going to just be. I do
10
not
minutes.
see Drew McIntyre the type of wrestler to get speared 3 times in a row and then play more and then it's
what else
done.
is he gonna do, Dave?
I think that's the reason why I think Drew McIntyre could pull out a little work out of him. I think he can make him work for it a little bit more. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be like I'll say 8 minutes, less than 10, 8-7 minutes. It won't be no quick 3-4 minutes that he's been doing.
Okay, so we agree it's probably gonna be to the 8 to 10.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
8 to 10.
We're gonna see a bunch of right hands. We're gonna see a whole bunch of tie ups and pushing and arm strength tests and then spears, and that's all we're gonna see. We know what we're gonna get from Goldberg. You know what I mean? That dude can't do almost nothing now. You know what I mean?
Now I have to play devil's advocate again. Any chance at all he wins?
No chance in hell.
Why? Because I feel like, for better or worse, Goldberg always has a chance. Even though people don't like it, he always has a chance. He beat The Fiend when Fiend was at arguably his hardest. He beat The Fiend in Saudi Arabia. He beat Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens is arguably at his hardest. Isn't there a part of you that's a little scared that they might just hand it to Goldberg just because, I don't know, shock value?
But for what? To fight who?
Just for shock value on the road to WrestleMania.
If they let him win now, then now he has to. What is he gonna do? Just take it to the next pay-per-view, and they fight again? Is that what you think is gonna happen?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the smart thing to happen, and what I think is gonna happen, is Goldberg. You know, they're gonna make Goldberg look good in the feud and the build, but he's ultimately gonna put him over. I think Drew's gonna beat him. Claymore. It's gonna probably take 3 Claymores and some crazy stuff or something like that. But I do think, like I said, if you was to like do some betting odds, if you're gonna gamble, you can't say Goldberg has no chance, because they seem to believe in his aura when he's holding a title at this point in the game. Still, it seems like they gave him the championship, no hesitation, when he beat KO, when he beat The Fiend. So there is a small part of me that's afraid that they would go that direction. But I agree with you. There's no upside. There's no way you can finagle that, man. You can't finagle him winning the championship right now. I don't want to see it.
It would be the most pointless thing in the world, because, like I said, Drew's the hottest thing going, and he just needs not only that, we know his performances ain't gonna be A+. So the best thing to do is to just let him be the roadblock. Let him be somebody who does have a legendary, career. Let him be somebody who looks tough against Drew, because there's nobody else right now to really look tough against Drew. That's the problem. I think that's the real biggest problem. So he fixes that, and then now the next thing we could probably do is Sheamus, and then WrestleMania is the big question mark for me. I don't know what they're gonna do.
So you don't think there's any, full-time fresh opponents that are believable for Drew up to WrestleMania. So you don't
Yeah,
see
but
that person.
just for the big fight field, you got to have somebody who's a big fight. Who is it? That's what I really don't know. I don't know if Brock's going to be available. I don't know. You know what I mean? This is the big thing. I really don't know.
You could do Drew and the Fiend. That hasn't happened.
I think that might be able to work, but
There's plenty of time to end up there.
and that's probably the closest great thing you can get at WrestleMania.
I think that's huge, honestly. Or if they, I feel you on why you didn't want them to use it, but I thought it was a hell of a main event. Keith Lee could have won the Royal Rumble, and it would have been sweeter if they saved it till WrestleMania. But it doesn't look like that's the plan.
It's messed up now. It's messed up because, dude, you got to make Keith Lee's. He's a big bear. Make him look like a big bear, and they didn't even do that.
He looked good. He looked really good in a loss. He lost, but he looked.
But Dave, let him at least pile up 50 guys before you do that to him.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my only beef. They didn't even let him put a pile on before they made him lose. The best thing to do is give him a pile of bodies and let him lay at waste to everybody, like Mark Henry was during the Hall of Pain.
Hell, he should have been piling up bodies, like beating the Sheamuses, beating the Lashleys. Then Royal Rumble, have them throw out like a record number of people. They could have been playing those type of scenes right now, and then he would have been a made man ready to take on Drew.
Exactly.
But hey, I'm not mad at it. That was a great main event on Raw. I agree with you.
I hated it because
it drew numbers.
It did, but come on, it was a desperation move.
It was. they wanted to pop a number so bad. That's why they popped
it was Legends Night. It was Legends Night. They needed to pull out some type of gun.
Yeah.
Then they shot it.